So as I'm doing this article, publishing it, I'm going to just talk about some of the benefits of the 500 posts challenge, which was popularised. I don't know if he actually came up with the idea or whether it was just popularised by him, Donovan Barrett. He's on all platforms, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Threads. He's going all in. I actually made a video that's going to be posted on YouTube. It's a long form video and I haven't edited it yet about this same topic, but I'm going to do a quick breakdown of some of the benefits of doing a challenge like this. So first of all, and this is what I've written on my Medium article, but I'm going to just go through it. You destroy perfectionism when you do a challenge like this, because when you're creating at this pace, there's no time to overthink. You learn to publish imperfectly, and that alone is freedom. You stop waiting for the right lighting, the perfect caption, or the clever hook. You realise that consistency is far more powerful than perfection ever will be. Not to say you shouldn't do things well. If you're someone who struggles with consistency, a lot of the time, people that struggle with consistency struggle with overthinking. And that's one of the reasons why they're not doing the things they're supposed to be doing. That you struggle with overthinking everything that you do. And there's also fear involved as well. Fear of failure, fear of what people are going to think, fear of, your colleagues finding out, your schoolmates finding out. The more you post, the faster you improve and you start trusting yourself again. You stop being the kind of creator who hides behind drafts. I noticed that I used to be this type of creator when I started writing on Medium. When I look back at my Medium draft section, I have about 1,000 drafts in there. And this was before I started posting. Imagine that, 1,000 drafts, and I didn't post anything. I was just sitting there. But prior to that, I had a blog. Well, I've had several blogs. But the difference between the blogs that I created and my Medium page were that those blogs had nothing to do with my name. They were faceless blogs. No one knew that I was behind them. They were niche blogs based on topics that I didn't even really care about that much. But I was creating that content because I wanted to build a profitable niche blogging business, which is what I did. But when I started writing on Medium, I was using my name and I was terrified of people finding my content under my name. I don't know why, but that's just how it felt. That's what it was. And I didn't want to put anything out that was imperfect, just in case friends or family saw it and said, this isn't that good. Next thing is build unshakable discipline. The 500 post challenge doesn't just build your content. What it does is it builds your character. So posting this much, it means you can't rely on motivation. You have to discipline your creativity. So some days I don't feel like doing anything at all. Other days I'm inspired out of my mind and I can't stop. But no matter what I post, and the habit of following through, especially when you don't feel like it, becomes your superpower. There have been days where I've missed posting, but it hasn't been video. I've noticed that I've missed posting writing a few times, and that's because I'm so used to writing that it's like it doesn't feel like that much of a challenge for me anymore. But when it comes to video content, it's more of a challenge because you've got to show up with your face, you've got to show up smiling or show up, having something to say. And sometimes you feel like you have to make yourself look presentable because you don't want people sharing your videos and you looking like you've just woken up and all of that. Even though in a way that kind of ties in with the whole perfectionism thing of kind of wanting to be perfect before you show up on camera and things like that. But anyway, it becomes your superpower to post when you don't feel like it. And I'm going to be honest with you, today was one of those days when I woke up, got out of bed, and I was like, I can't be bothered to do any of this today. I'm not in the mood. And it's not because I don't like it, because I actually really enjoy talking to camera. But I was like, I'm not in the mood. But then what switched in my brain was, I built a 7-figure business, but I want to build an 8-figure one. That's what switched in my mind. That's my why. Like, why would I just not do the work that I'm supposed to be doing? Because I know that this is going to move the needle in my business. Because yes, your first goal is the $10,000 a month, and you make it and you're like, okay, what's next? Second goal is maybe 50,000, and then from there 100,000, and then 200, 300, and $1 million a month. And it gets to a point where it's like, well, all I need to do is rinse and repeat the same thing, but on a greater scale. And for me, what I've discovered is that it's not so much about doing more work as time goes on when you're building these, big, larger scale businesses. It's about learning to delegate. But for me, when it comes to personal brand content, I don't want to outsource the making of the content. But when it comes to editing and all that kind of thing, you're going to outsource it because, you're not going to have time to be sitting down editing every single thing. But I find that with TikTok, it's really easy because you just post within the app and it doesn't require as much, effort, whatever it is. But as time goes on, when you want to start to improve and level up, you're going to start outsourcing. You're going to start, when it comes to my niche blogs and stuff, I've outsourced everything, 100% of it. When it comes to my faceless YouTube channels, I've outsourced 100% of it. I don't even touch it. I don't even look at it. When it comes to my content writing business, majority of the content writing is done by team. I do have clients where I do the work for them, but majority of it is done by team. Anyway, some days, like I said, I don't feel like doing it, but I get on with it anyway. And that's where your superpower lies. Next thing is it creates massive visibility. When you show up this consistently, the algorithm has no choice but to notice. Neither do people. They don't have a choice. I've seen my reach expand across every platform. YouTube specifically. When I started this challenge, I was on 490 subscribers on there, and I'm now on 753 subscribers on day 18, which I think is pretty cool. On TikTok, I'm not going to say I've blown up massively in followers, quite clear. I'm on 28, I think 30 followers or something so far. But what I have noticed is that I'm getting a lot more people liking. I'm having people sending me DMs, asking me questions as well. And I've noticed that I'm getting onto the For You page because I keep on checking where people are actually seeing my content, and it's through the For You page. Like I said, my TikToks are landing on more For You pages, and my email list is growing daily. I mean, my email list, I've got loads of email lists anyway. My email list is massive, and the email lists that I'm growing for this particular challenge is growing very, very rapidly. Next thing is, you find your true voice. When you publish hundreds of times, your voice stops being something you try to craft and it emerges naturally. Somewhere around post 100, I noticed that I was no longer imitating anyone else. I was creating from a deeper, more authentic place. The beauty of things for me is that I've created a lot of written content. And so it's a lot easier for me than someone who has never created anything at all. You really have to dig deep and find your voice. But what it is for me is finding the way I show up, in the authentic way I show up. Do I have a style, or do I have a particular way I talk, or is it just a case of just turning the camera on and just saying, right, let me just get on with it? I haven't been massively consistent with face-forward video content. I did at one point on YouTube with my other channel. I did massive challenges where I posted a bunch of content, then I just went quiet for months and months. Even for a couple of years I went quiet on my other channel, but I was going all in quietly with my written content. Anyway, another thing is you learn what your audience connects with, you find your rhythm, you develop your creative identity through repetition and experimentation. I want to get on with this because I want to post this article. And you build a real digital business foundation. If you don't already have one, you're going to build a real digital business foundation when you do something like this. If you're just starting a digital business, I would really recommend that you do a 500 post challenge or some kind of challenge in the beginning. Instead of just going in with, posting, plodding along once a week, whatever it is, you do a challenge. I would also recommend, if you're not going to do a 500 post challenge, you do a challenge called the 33 Immersion Method Challenge. And the 33 Immersion Method Challenge is something that I have coined myself. I have an e-guide called the 33 Immersion Method. If you want to grab it, DM me and I'll send you the link to the e-guide. It's basically 33 pieces of content, all based on the same topic to build topical authority in your space. Anyway, I'm going to leave this video here. So if you're watching this on TikTok and you want to either sign up to my 90-day accelerator program, send me a DM, grab the 33 Immersion, send me a DM. If you're watching this on YouTube, then please do check out the links that are in the description.